Hello, everybody. It's 1 o'clock on a Monday afternoon. John Russell here with you. I'm stuck at home. Are you stuck at home? I hope you are. That way you can watch us. Ladies and gentlemen, with me today as my guest is a young comic who has actually done quite a bit in his time in comedy. He's been a producer of shows down at Dudley Riggs' Brave New Workshop. He is also one of the fellows that is, he's a co-producer of the Codependent Comedy Show, which is one of the breakout stars of virtual comedy, folks. Please welcome Andrew Wegleitner to the show. And good to see you, my friend. So first of all, as I like to ask everybody, how are you doing during this pandemic?
I'm actually doing pretty good, man.
I'm glad to hear it. Keeping busy?
I wouldn't say that. If I had one complaint, it would be boredom. But
yeah,
I have all of my partner's mom's streaming account passwords and stuff. So the Amazon Prime and the HBO. So I've been binging all the stuff that I should have watched years ago that I never got around to.
Perfect, like The Office.
No, we haven't watched much of The Office yet, but I had never watched Game of Thrones before, and I watched the first season.
Well, this must be her.
I forgot she was watching.
Well, now that you've ratted her out, and all of the streaming services will come after her. No.
Oh
kidding.
yeah, that's right. That's.
I don't think they watch. Believe me, buddy. I don't think they watch my show. It's interesting. I am. My son is. How old are you, by the way, Andy?
36.
36. Okay. My youngest son is just coming up on 30, and he rents stuff on YouTube and then shares with me, and for some reason we can't get it to work, and he can't get it figured out, and he gets mad. But he's like, "Dude, you gotta watch this. You gotta watch this. You gotta watch this." And I'm like, I don't even want to. But one that he said, "Oh, you should watch this." Chris Hemsworth has some show on Netflix called it's a movie straight to Netflix called Extraction, or The Extraction, and I thought, wow, you finally found one that I don't mind. But it's just a bunch of killing, just a bunch of killing.
I've noticed I've been watching all these movies and I've become really desensitized to violence lately.
Yeah.
I'll see just a horrifically graphic murder, and then I'll just make a casual sarcastic remark afterwards, "Ooh, that's got a hoik."
Absolutely. So as many people that are able to watch, are you furloughed, laid off, anything like that from a day job?
What's the difference between furloughed and laid off?
All right, so laid off means that you may be called back. Furloughed means you will be called back. Does that make sense?
As far as I know, I'm furloughed.
Well, that's good news. That's good news.
If I'm laid off, would be news to me. But
see, because I was, from my fantastic job, I was terminated. So you're terminated, which is, we're not promising anything. You got laid off, which is, we'd like to have you come back.
I know terminated. I've been that.
Multiple times, right? Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's good to that. Have you been do you go out shopping a lot? Do you go out of the house a little?
We're just ordering in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you having groceries delivered into the house?
Yeah, it's pretty nifty. We got our whole system down. We team up and wipe everything down with the Sandy wipes. Very
nice. That's good.
Yeah.
I kind of risk it. I go to the store. But you know what?
You wear a mask?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah, my mom. I don't know where they are. My mom sent me masks. They're paper. So it's just like wearing a coffee filter. No, my mom was watching. I'm kidding, Mom. I'm kidding. But they look like coffee filters. But it's interesting to me because different stores kind of seem to handle it differently. I drove by Aldi where I shop often because it's cheap, and there was a line of people, right?
Yeah.
And I get my prescriptions from the Walmart pharmacy because it's the closest pharmacy to my house. I had to go in and get some prescriptions, and it's like, yeah, there's no line, there's no nothing. And I just think to myself, holy crap. I mean, the difference. I think maybe because all these smaller, they only allow a certain amount of people in there. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like to get the Bar S brand bologna. I don't know. I've told people it's Bar S brand. It's the cheapest. It's $1.99 a pound. But I also think there's way less meat in it than most other bolognas.
Oh.
Lots of filler. Lots of filler.
Do they make the kind with the olive in it?
Bar S does not. Olives are too expensive. Only a high-class bologna like Oscar Mayer can put them olives in there.
I love that Gaskin joke. He's like, I'll have the bologna. Dirty.
Oh, my gosh. So let's talk a little bit. I ask, first of all, do you remember the last show that you did before all of this happened? When was it and where was it?
I was with Joe Christensen and Nate Fuselbach in Mohall, North Dakota.
Oh my gosh!
You ever been?
I have been. It's out there.
Have you performed there?
I don't think I've performed there, but I used to. A lot of people don't know this. I lived in Fargo, and before I ever got into radio, I was a regional sales manager for a food company. So I was all over North and South Dakota. I mean, literally, I've been anywhere with people. So yeah. So how was that?
It was fun. I mean, the way we were doing the shows, we'd each do a half hour, and I think the first night I went first, and that was in Larimore, and then the next night we were in Mohall when I closed. And it was, about an hour of Nate and Joe eating the bullet during an inattentive bachelorette party. And then, we thought like, hey, I mean, nobody looks forward to a bachelorette party, but we're like, at least there's going to be energy. There's going to be an audience, people will be drinking, whatever. But, they were like right up front and not watching the show. So we kind of ruining it for everybody else. But then they sort of filtered out to the back and stopped being a disruption up front, and was able to sort of start winning over like the rest of the bar and the rest of the audience. It was a good last show. It was very challenging circumstances, but we made the most of it. And
you got paid, right?
We got paid. I almost got the cops called at the hotel room though. The hotel manager guy smelled weed and came into our room and checked the window, he thought I was gonna throw it out the window or something.
Oh wow.
And he didn't really speak English, so he said it smells like pot in here, but Nate had just ripped a really big nasty fart, and because of his accent I thought he was saying it smells like fart in here.
Beautiful.
But that doesn't really pertain to the show.
No, it doesn't, but it's a good story, and I think it's good. I think it's good. There's Large Marge. Hello. Yes, you are here. We see you. Thanks for tuning
Marge.
In.
I love Large Marge. She's the best.
Oh, my gosh, yes. So one of the things, let's talk first about you've actually put on quite a few shows as a producer.
I thought you were gonna say put on quite a few pounds. I don't know.
No. I would never say put on a few pounds to anybody.
You wouldn't say that just
because that's like the pot calling the kettle a pot. I mean, I swear to God, I put 40 pounds on already.
I put on a few shows over my years. We did the Brave New Workshop one that I think you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I did a show at Bedlam Theater, which is now out of business. My buddy John McConville. And then we were doing a show in Madison at my brother-in-law's Microgreens / juice bar / yoga massage studio called Supercharged Foods in Madison.
Yeah. Hey, there's Randy Luttrell. Hi, Randy. Good to see you.
So yeah, and then now the virtual one.
Yeah. So let's talk about the virtual one because I asked people if they've done a virtual open mic, and a lot of people have done it. A lot of people are scared of them. A lot of people are like, "Oh, there's not going to be any response." Uh, well, maybe your act needs to be fixed.
Yeah. When is there at an open mic?
I mean, come on. But so it's got to be a little bit different for you and Rebecca because you're putting it on, and as producers of the show, it's a little bit different. I mean, there's some more different little hoops and things you have to hop through, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, trying to move it from one to the next, and then dealing with the lags because we do ours on Instagram, so you have to wait for somebody to comment in the feed, and then you click on their comment, and then you're able to pull them up on screen that way.
Gotcha.
But because of the lag, everything takes like an extra 10 seconds. You have to just kind of like try to fill that dead time and not make it awkward. And then sometimes it doesn't work. So then you have to like be like, okay, well, we're going to try the next person. And then
Keep filling.
What's that?
Keep filling.
Keep filling. Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
just keep on rolling with it. But I don't know. We both have improv backgrounds and stuff, so you kind of try to rely on that. And
Yeah.
sometimes, just the struggle of it is fun to watch. Just watching people. I don't know. There was one we were watching. It was like Isaac, and his connection was bad, and he was just like talking over the other person, and they were just both talking at the same time. They couldn't hear each other, and like I haven't laughed that hard since this whole thing started. I don't think.
That's the whole thing. So are you guys using Zoom? Is that what you're using for your?
No, so it's Instagram Live. So you go to Rebecca Wilson's Instagram. It's rebecca.rolera.wilson.
Okay.
And then it's pretty easy to watch. There's just, in the profile picture, when we go live, there's a little like red rectangle that says live, and then you just click on the profile picture and watch it, and then comment, like you can for this.
Gotcha. Awesome. And so other than your own show that you guys do, have you done any other open mics, virtual open mics?
Yeah, I've done. Let's see, I did Ali's, and Shiloh Blake has one, and Derek Myers has one. So yeah, I've done a few different ones.
So you kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's a challenge. Like I think, most comics like a challenge. We like, trying to just rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
And like, like if other people are afraid to just do something, like, it's fun to be the person to step in and be like, all right, well, I'll give it a shot.
Absolutely. There's Peggy Miller. Hello, Peggy.
Hi,
Thanks
Peggy.
for looking in. So do you, when you're doing the open mics, do you launch right into material, or do you try to do, because of your improv background, do you kind of try to do sort of visual bits, or?
Yeah, no, I mean, we just kind of treat it like a regular open mic, and just do some new jokes that we've been working on
Yeah.
top, kind of explain how it's going to work. And then, sometimes you can do sort of different stuff given like your environment. Like the first show we did a thing where we had set up like a fake audience. Like we had a Gilda Radner comedy record and Robin Williams, and then I had like cut out a picture of Santa Claus, so we just like cut to them all sitting on the chairs. And
Nice.
people are putting on little wigs and doing goofy shit, prop stuff in their apartment. Like it's all, there's no judgment, it's just having fun and getting to see each other and stuff.
Well, I think that's
opening. Oh yeah, we have I've been given a note by my co-producer that I should mention. We also have a musical act. So the show's at 8 p.m. every Wednesday night, but if you tune in like 5 minutes before the show, you can see music. Rebecca and Andrew's mic is my favorite by far. Watching them both interact with the comics and respond to their jokes makes the show funnier. Right. And Tovar, what was your Venmo? How much did we say I was going to Venmo you? Thanks,
Good old
Steven.
Steven.
We
He's a
have been
he's a
getting a lot of good feedback, though. There's definitely mixed feedback about the virtual open mic thing as a whole.
yeah.
But what we've heard is that people do like doing ours.
I think people. Here's the thing. I think people are looking for something. And
Yeah.
as I mean, like I've been doing this now for over a month, which I didn't ever think I would do for over a month. And there are a certain number of people that watch every day, and a certain number of people that watch when it's somebody they know, and I don't really give a shit. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like because for me it's fun because like I know, like I've said this about just about everybody. I know you, but I don't really know you because it's not like we had a chance to, as we're doing the open mic stuff, because you do things the way that stuff works. So like I never really got to talk to you and find out stuff about you, which is one of the reasons I love to do this, to
Sure.
find out more about you and what your, as I mentioned, what your path was on the old comedy trail. Like for
I'm all
example,
yours.
yeah, what made you decide you wanted to give this a try?
So the thing that initially got me into it, there's this bar that I used to get drunk at called the Pub in Madison, Wisconsin. My brother-in-law was a bartender there, and the owner of Comedy on State in Madison bought this bar, and they started doing an open mic there. I saw an ad in the Onion, went down there to check it out, saw the other comics, and having the usual audience response, which is like, these people aren't very funny, I could do that. And then I went back the next week and invited some friends to come, and then went and did a set at the club the week after that, I think, at the comedy club, and one of the best clubs in the country, and was pretty much hooked after that. So
Yeah.
it was kind of just like the thought of like, well, this is where I hang out anyways, so what's the difference if I'm talking into a microphone while I drink my beer instead of sitting at the bar? It just seemed very comfortable. Like the comedy sort of came to me.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you have a improv background. Did you start doing stand up before the improv or improv before the stand up?
Well, like I did theater in high school, so we did like improv exercises in high school, and then I remember, we'd go see, what was it, the Six Ring Circus, I think, the Improv a Go-Go, the $1 improv show they used to do at Crazy Workshop, and Comedy Sports, and then I took a class my freshman year in college, an improv class, and then I kind of fell out of the performing thing for a while, and then got back into stand-up, and then got back into improv as a way of like sort of rounding out my comedy muscles or whatever.
So do you find that having that improv background makes it easier for you to work in a club or a bar situation?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it makes you just sort of like, the way to look at it, I think, is just having your environment be your scene partner, So rather than like I'm fighting against everything, you look at it as a gift, So when something goes wrong that you're not expecting, instead of just panicking, it's more like, okay, well, now how can I build off of that? And you say yes and to, whatever happens.
Yep. Perfect. I would like to, have what happens when I'm on stage. Typically, I like to have somebody bring me a turkey sandwich. But I don't have my audience following is not big enough or smart enough to bring me a turkey sandwich when I need it.
I will do that next time I see you on stage.
That's what I'm talking about. One guy at a time, Andrew. One guy at a time. So let's talk a little bit about some of your favorite performers. And I know that you've been out working on the road. One of the cool things about working on the road is that you have a chance to work with different people. But, and you probably might agree with me on this, you have a tendency of, when you find guys you really get along with and have fun with when you're out on the road, you kind of stick with those guys, right? So do you have any of those? Do you have any of that those stick with guy crew kind of?
Well, unfortunately, I mean, I'm featuring, so a lot of that's out of my hands. I don't really get to choose who to stick with. I have to just go with whoever I'm assigned to by the
Okay,
bookers.
okay, but
Um,
by the same token, on the reverse, are there some headliners that are like, God dang it, this Andrew Wegleitner is a fun guy to hang around with. I got to bring him with me more.
God, I don't know. I hope so. You know.
But they you you haven't noticed it to this point. It's like I mean you
John, this was not. You told me all the questions you were going to ask before the show. That was not one of them.
well I gotta throw in some that just sort of pop
I
into
was
my
like, I
head.
got this. No curveballs.
No curveballs. That son of a bitch, he just screwed me. No, it's funny because like I don't know how you are when you get assigned stuff on the road from a booker. A lot of times I don't even look to see who it is.
Yeah, I usually don't even know who I'm
Yeah,
working with, which can be frustrating because if it's a local comic, it's good to know if there's a carpool opportunity.
exactly. I found that I worked with a guy that I had worked with before. And I said, "Oh, did you ask for me?" He says, "Nope." Like, well,
Yeah, Corey Adam was telling me about a gig he did. I think it was in Sault Ste. Marie,
oh
Upper
yeah,
Michigan,
yeah.
and it was him and Tommy Thompson, and they both
Good
they
Lord.
didn't know the other person was on the gig, and they're like, "Oh, where are you coming from? Minneapolis? Where are you coming from? Minneapolis? What the
That's an 8-hour drive at least.
Oh yeah,
At least. Oh
yeah,
my
it's
gosh.
included.
Yeah, see that's one of the odd things about it. And then I learned my lesson and I started looking up and
Well, and
oh
sometimes if if the venue's not good about the signage, they'll just say like comedy night, and they won't even have it listed
oh
who's
yeah.
performing. You know.
Yeah. So how many booking agents are you working with right now, Andrew?
Uh, Zero.
Well, I don't mean like at this moment. I mean in the general sense before this all closed down. What do you think?
I maybe three. You know,
Yeah.
with one, one pretty steady, and then two that are just sort of sparse here and there.
Yeah.
How
It's
about you?
it's yeah, somewhere along yeah, I mean like 5 or 6.
Yeah,
And
you should let me know what those other two are.
well, I will, but it's like it's when it's here's the weird part about it is there are some bookers in this country, and for just about every comedy booker, the venues have decreased somewhat. I know for
Yeah,
our main booking agent, they've decreased somewhat, and
right.
that means that there are less venues. For the smaller bookers, there are even less venues, and so I mean, I have one booking agent that I get called for one venue
Yeah,
only,
right.
and I get a call from them probably once or twice a year, but it's one venue.
Yeah,
But it still goes through an agency, and there's always that hope because they have more than one, but apparently I'm just not in the range because the rest of them are all really like this one's a ways out, but the rest of them are all a really long ways out.
yeah.
So
I
and
mean, I don't know. I see myself doing this the rest of my life. So the way I see it, there's just going to be ups and downs, and
oh, absolutely.
booms and recessions, and
I see
I
myself
don't
doing this the rest of my life too, Andrew, but that could be next week. I mean, I'm look, dude. I am right in the target in the wheelhouse of this coronavirus. I've been asked to do things that I refuse to do. No, not really. I'm looking forward to when we can go out and do things, but I think it's going to be different too.
Yeah,
Because if you've got, I mean, one of the beautiful things about a well set up comedy club is it's close. The audience is close together because laughter is infectious. It's close to the stage, so
yeah,
it's intimate. And I just don't think that if everything opened up, let's say at the end of May, I just don't think you're going to be able to jam 150 people into a room and get away with it. I think the state's going to say maybe 50, and you're going to have to get everybody out of the way, and then you're going to have to worry about servers with masks on, and you're going to have to worry. I mean, are the performers going to have to wear a mask? I don't know. Because if that's the case, none of my faces will make any sense to anybody.
Yeah, I know.
It's like I'll have to have a different mask. Well, hold on. It'll be like the old time impressionists. They turn around and get ready. No, we turn around and put a different mask on for this joke.
That doesn't look like Jack Nicholson at all.
It looks like Jack with a mask on.
You could see what my mouth was doing right now.
You guys, it's just like I always when people like impressions, and I like to do it's a really good impression of President Chester A. Arthur, and people are like, I'm like, I'm nailing this. Go Google it. I am nailing it so hard.
I like that. You just do such obscure material that you can blame the audience for not getting it every time.
You're uneducated. Who doesn't know who President Chester A. Arthur is? Oh my gosh. So one of the things that I do like to ask people about are hell gigs that they can remember vividly and literally stalk your memory and your dreams. I'm sure that you've got some of those, whether it be a terrible setup, a terrible anything, you had to fight the guy to get paid, anything like that. If you got one or two, I'd love to hear about them.
Yeah, so it was actually really close to the end of doing shows before the quarantine. And I think it was partly why nobody came to the show, but it was, rural Wisconsin casino gig. And it was my second time coming to this venue. The first time I did the show, it was, I think, a Thursday night show, and it was in a little back room, and it was a nice setup. There's maybe 7 people. My parents' friends had a cabin, so they showed up about halfway through my act. But it was decent, and then they brought me back again more recently, and rather than doing the one Thursday night show in front of 7 people, it became 4 shows, 2 Friday night, 2 Saturday night, in front of like nobody really, just people sort of hovered around the bar playing the built-in slot machines at the bar, sort of facing away from the stage. And it's a casino, there's nobody there because the Corona thing was already happening and people were already starting to stay at home. And I was staying at the casino, and as I'm walking to the showroom, by the way, they moved it out of the small Thursday night room into the big main casino area.
Oh.
So there was room for hundreds of people, but every single table on the floor was completely empty. So I have a picture of it on Instagram. You can just see the setup, just a huge stage and just a huge room full of empty chairs. And so, yeah, I have no idea why they thought, hey, nobody's coming to this show. Let's do 4 of them.
Oh my gosh!
But I didn't even tell you the thing that I thought was the most disturbing about this whole thing was that in the conference room directly across the hallway, there was a gun show, and there were people walking down the hotel hallways carrying rifles. I don't know guns, but it's not like, you go to a guns show, it doesn't like come in a box or a bag or something. You just walk out with the guns. So it's just people walking down the hallways carrying guns and Trump signs. And I'm like, this is gonna go well.
Oh, that can't make you feel bad at all, huh?
Yeah,
Hey, I got this new AK.
During one of the shows, I think pleaded for someone to bring me one of those guns so I could blow my brains out.
Hey, I just got this new AK, and that comic's not so good. Let's see how hard I can use it. Oh my gosh!
So yeah, I don't have to go that far back to get to my Hellgate.
Oh my gosh!
I'm sure I got another one right around the corner.
Oh my gosh, it's so. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of times, my shows are at casinos, and
Yeah,
only because I fit in well with the old people at casinos.
yeah.
Um,
They're usually like the best paying and the worst experience, I would say.
yeah, it's it all depends. I mean, and there's the one little one nighter over in. I know you've done it.
Danbury,
I
Wisconsin.
know you've done it. I wasn't going to say it.
Ah, well, it
Uh,
sounded like you were searching for the word.
no, I always dance around how to because I still like. I mean, it's like
Hey, but
I.
that could be any casino in
It
Danbury.
could be. It could be any casino in, any one of them. But I always. I mean that. And I've gone up there. I don't know how many times. I've gone up there before Chuck ran it. When Entertainment Max was booking it, as well as the one down in St. Croix, or in Turtle Lake, and you used to stay. I don't know how long you've been going and doing that. We used to stay in the older hotel across the
Yeah,
parking lot, but
I heard
then
about that.
somebody set fire to it, and so because it burned down, and so the last couple of times I gone, you stay right there at the big hotel. But depending on what's going on, I would usually just come home.
It,
Because
yeah, it's not far away. You get a nice prime rib sandwich though.
oh yeah, well they taught me that you can get two.
You
You get,
can?
oh yes, you have so much money from your ticket. You see.
Oh, not anymore. You know. Oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe the
Yeah,
headline.
but you see, you have enough. No, 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 no. It doesn't make any difference. You get enough money, and it's like because they're cheap, right?
Oh
So
man.
you can if you can either go to the buffet, which depending on what night it is, if it's seafood night, of course you don't want to go. But if it's
Oh my god. I did the buffet right before my set one
see,
time.
it's I can't do it.
No, it was a huge mistake.
Oh,
And I I got done with my set and obviously ran to the bathroom right away. Came back good 20 minutes later, and as I'm walking back into the room, the headliner called me out from the stage and goes, "There's your feature performer. He just got back from the bathroom because of the."
well, it's the fish are trying to fight their way back to the sea. It's amazing. I mean, that's one thing, and you learn because when you're first starting, right? It's not like you're getting paid a huge amount of money to do those shows, but it's like, oh, and you get the buffet, and you're like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my money's worth from the buffet, and
you
then
get a
it's like,
free drink like top shelf, call rail. What are we talking?
and then the problem becomes, let's see, I really need to go to sleep before my set, even though it's from 5 minutes. It's like I can't. So I can't even. I've stopped eating anything before the set just because it can create too much havoc,
Yeah,
you
not a
know.
good idea. For
But
all those newer comics watching, don't eat before your set.
don't do it. It save you a lot of aggravation. Woof it down. Here's the other thing too. Like one of the last shows I did was with Chris Schlichting, and I don't know if you know him. He's down in Davenport, Iowa. He and I did a show in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, at the Country Club, and they had a nice buffet, and it really looked nice. And they're like, "Oh, would you like to? Would you?" But first of all, no. Just
Can
out
I
of
get it in a box and put it in the
usually,
fridge?
yeah, just out of general principle, no, thank you. But then the other part is, I don't like being in front of the audience that's going to see me ahead of time, and I particularly don't like to have them watch me eat. It's like, oh, I wonder what that. Well, that's why he's such a fat bastard. Because look at all those shrimp he's eating. Oh
Don't you
my,
find that if you kind of build up a rapport with them before you go on stage, then you have a better chance at getting laughs?
nah. Look, in some cases maybe, but I mean, I've had it both ways, man. I had it like it was like, oh yeah, please come early and like for a corporate party, please a corporate Christmas party, come in, you can eat with us, and you get there and it's like, all right, where do I sit? And it's like,
Oh, I know.
and it's like
They stuck us at a table with other people.
Yeah, and it's
What
like
is that?
it's like
We don't get our own table? Like,
I know nothing. The best corporate Christmas party I did was I actually did one all by myself, all by myself up in Minot. And it was awesome because the guy says, "Come down, I'll show you around." He showed me around. He says, "You can get something to eat if you want to." I'm like, "Nope." And I hung out with them afterwards for an hour because they had like games that they were doing after my chunk, and gave out prizes and stuff. But I'm like, I can't be here with you guys while this is going on. I just can't you know and he's like, "Oh, that's cool." And then and he says, "Oh my gosh, well, you stayed after." So in that situation, staying after for me was way better than it would have been if I'd have been there with them all ahead of time, because
now, do you sell merch?
they come back here. Don't worry about it. There you are. Just internet glitch. So typically what happens, like on a corporate show, I will sell merch, but I'll ask them ahead of time because I don't want to haul everything in and
Yeah, it's weird. People aren't going to buy merch when they're like at work. But
right.
like the reason I asked is because I was wondering, like, when do you make the decision to pack it up and go, okay, these people aren't going to buy it?
Usually, like for me, I can usually tell. It's like if people are coming by and have an interest, they're going to come by pretty quick. And if they have zero interest, if they're just going to come by and say, "Oh, nice show," and like I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And people that dawdle, I'm like, I'm not going to wait for them. If
So you,
people
you
are in
don't
there,
you
go
don't see
ahead.
that one drunken straggler and go like, they might just be drunk enough to make some bad decisions with their money.
Nah, I mean, typically, no. I mean, it's like maybe I try to sell a guy some socks. Like, I got some spare socks. I don't have your size of my shirt that you want, but I got some spare socks. I don't know. I typically, for as far as merch goes, though, it's like, gosh, man, it's really hard. And I work with Mark Poulos a lot, and he's like a merch fiend.
Yeah,
I mean, he sells so much stuff, but I mean, it's like if you hit your merch right on the head, I mean, you could sell a ton of it. But if you're off a little bit, and then the other part too is if you're working from the middle to sell stuff, it's harder because now they have to remember your stuff and your pitch for a whole 45 more minutes at
yeah,
least.
yeah.
So it makes it harder. But what I found is, like if I'm working with Poulos, I sell a fair amount, not nearly as much as him, but a fair amount. If I'm working with somebody who doesn't sell anything, I do much better.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of headliners, which surprises me, that don't sell anything. And it's like, I should be working with you all the time. And I had a guy on, I think last week on Thursday. Was it last week? I think last week, Thursday, I had Bill Blank on from Des Moines. I don't know if you know him. He's a great headliner. I work with him. Where did I work with him? I don't remember exactly where. But actually from the stage, he's got stuff that he sells, but he also said, "You know what, if you're going to buy something from the show as a souvenir, buy it from John, because he works just as hard as me, travels just as far, and gets half the pay." And I
Yeah,
thought,
well,
holy
that's cool.
cow, that's
It's
awesome.
cool when the other comic plugs your merch or the
Yeah,
host does it or whatever. I
absolutely.
I was reluctant to do it at first, just because of the whole. I didn't get in this to be a traveling T-shirt
Right.
salesman type. But the thing is, I mean, if it's the choice between that and working my day job waiting tables, I mean, what's the difference? I'd much rather just make the money that way.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I always felt like I didn't have any goals. Didn't like I'm done doing it. I don't have goals like I need to sell this many shirts in order to make it worth it. Obviously, you gotta buy a certain amount in order to make it profitable to sell them. But my goal was always, if I can sell 2 shirts at a show, that pays for all my gas, and that
Mhm.
and that covers at least that part of it. So that was always my goal.
Yeah, it adds up in the long run.
Yeah, you know. And then if you have a show where you just sell stuff insanely well for whatever reason, then you go holy crap.
Yeah, it just makes it average out. You just have a dry spell, and then you go
Yeah,
on a tear.
there you go, Ron. You're absolutely correct. Merch has always been the next tank of gas. You are correct, sir. And if you and it becomes that because if you start to plan on you're going to sell so much stuff and expect that it's going to come, that's when it starts not coming.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
by the way, go to Ron Lamprecht's social media to pick up his doggy dribble farts, doggy bandanas.
Oh, he's got those. Oh yeah, that's from
Proceeds
his.
go to charity.
That's from his run in with that company that makes the dribble farts.
But anyway,
I remember well. Well, speaking of people that you've had fun with, and great shows. So, what do you have? A couple of really good shows, or like you work with a top notch headliner, or
yeah, yeah, I have a couple of those. So cool. Yeah, he likes the merch play.
yeah, baby. Hashtag dribble farts.
Yeah, so there, you talked about like working with people on the road, and like, I haven't had a lot of great opportunities on the road, but I haven't had more opportunities locally. When I was at Brave New Workshop, there was a show when Kevin McDonald from Kids of the Hall came.
Oh
to
yeah.
town, and he did a class where I think it was like improv to sketch, sort of using that process of using improv to write sketch comedy. And his students put on a performance, and he hosted it and did stand up at the top of the show. And I think they had a musician, and they had some of the Braden Workshop players did improv and stuff. And I kind of had an in where I knew the guy who was kind of putting together the booking for the show, and so he reached out to me to be the one local stand-up comic who got to do a spot on the show, and that was just like such a cool opportunity to share the stage with all the kind of big players from Brave New Workshop and Kevin McDonald. So that one was really cool, and then,
yeah.
And then the other like real cool experience wasn't actually like doing stand-up, but when Todd Glass was at Acme just this past spring or fall, September, he does this thing where he has like a house band, and I'm friends with the band Mr. Rogers and the Make Believe Friends.
Okay.
Zach Allen, Devin Cook, and so they invited me to come in as they called it lead mumble, where basically I'm just there to sort of be in the background, and there's these different bits where the band is just sort of mumbling into the microphone, and you can only kind of pick up bits and pieces of what they're saying, but it sort of sounds funny as like an ensemble bit, and so I have no musical talent whatsoever. I can't play any instruments, but doing other shit. So yeah, I was playing like the slide whistle and just these different like percussive instruments. So there's like a duck whistle, and I had a flashlight where he'd kill all the lights, and I'd be like flashing the flashlight around the room like a disco ball. So I got to hang out with Todd all week, and it was just funny because I've never got hired at Acme or anything, and I remember one day when there's a couple of comics were talking in the lobby and like, oh, who are you gonna open for, and who are you gonna open for? And I made some comment about, oh yeah, you don't really think about things like that when you're headlining. And they're like, you don't get to say that. You're not the headliner.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, there's how many comics do you think would you estimate there are in the Twin Cities?
Like working comics or open micers or
all together, everybody fighting for their piece of the pie.
Everybody who's like fighting for a piece of the pie, I would say there's like 200.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a lot of people when you think about how many stages there actually are. You know.
But I would also I would almost double that because I feel like the number of people that try their hand at it, um, you know, there's so many people that just do it occasionally. They do it as a hobby.
Yeah.
They took their shot at it and then they quit and now they just show up once in a while. So there's 200 people that are actually trying to do this for a living, but I would say there's twice that are involved in some way.
Yeah. So how long have you been actually doing comedy?
I actually just hit 10 years. Jeez.
Yeah, crazy. So let me ask you this: what do you think made you keep going and not be like those people who are like, yeah, I tried it for a while, it ain't gonna work. I mean, is it 100% just the love of doing it?
No, it's more of a compulsion.
Okay.
I don't enjoy it. I'm compelled to do it. It's sort of like a Sisyphean curse.
Gotcha.
No, I mean, I don't know. Like, I did well in some contests early on, and contests are bullshit, and I stand by that. But it was something for me to point to be like, maybe I have some potential.
Yeah. But you do enjoy it though.
Yeah,
right?
no, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want people to get the wrong ideas. Like, oh, I do this, but I hate it so much, because that's my gimmick.
I stole your persona.
Don't be stealing my gimmick, baby.
There is the compulsion aspect of it for sure. Like, I don't really feel like there's anything else that I could do. Like, I do feel like I'm sort of drawn to it. There's almost this external force that makes me do it.
Well, it's very addictive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super addictive, and the high moments are the most elation I've ever felt, and the low moments probably some of the most
some of the crappiest
depressing times I've ever felt. But
I was going to say, I always go back to my near nervous breakdown at a pole barn in Worms, Nebraska.
Sounds about right.
You can get lower than that, but not a whole hell of a lot more.
What happened with that one?
That one was one where I and Stephen Tovar and Ryan Schmidt were along with Daryl Horner and Kevin Kraft on this long, drawn-about way to get to the St. Jude Children's Hospital fundraiser comedy show in Sedalia, Missouri. And this show there were two shows before this that were not good, but the one in Worms, Nebraska, we were ahead of a band playing a fundraiser for a girl with cancer, and this pole barn was a pole barn where literally we were like, okay, well, this band's starting at 7, so you guys are going to go on at like 5:30. Like, okay, so it's still sunny. The pole barn, it's a pole barn, so you're looking out here, and here are the cows. The cows are 50 feet from you, and they're it's like, you don't like that one? Here comes another one for you, cow. And they're, there's a handful of people, but it's not. They're like very politely just sort of waiting for the band, and they're grilling hamburgers and stuff, and it's like the cows are going, that smells like Ed. And it's just this whole kind of thing, and we got done with it, and I literally and nobody seemed to enjoy what we did. But then when the band started playing, everybody was hooting and hollering and having a great time, and I was just like, I just lost it. It's just like I was just absolutely why in the hell am I here? Why am I here?
It's interesting because it sounds like you didn't become upset until people started having a good time.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, but I'm going to be honest with you. It took me a long time a really long time, because like you know this, if you do a show and you're out on the road and you're by yourself, right? And you have a great show and everybody's happy and they leave, and then you're just sort of sitting there. And you got options, but a lot of them aren't good. And it just took me a really long time to get over that hump and say, dude, this is the way it is. This is what you chose. You know, you get that high from making them happy, but when it's done, it's freaking done. You know? So
Yeah.
anyway. So that's how you bring the show to a screeching halt.
Well, but that's what this quarantine is. It's just one huge worldwide screeching halt.
It is. You are correct. And speaking of screeching halts, Andrew, have you been following the show very much?
Yes, I've been tuning in here and there.
You're good. You can be honest. I appreciate that. One thing that folks we have been doing, and we started this next one. My mom has this nice game. She calls her guessing jar, and she puts a certain number of items into a jar. She doesn't tell me how many are in it. She makes a video. Well, she doesn't make. Well, she kind of makes it, and then I have a niece that films her. But now I will say this. Here are the rules. I'm going to pop up the rules here for Mom's guessing jar. The closest to the actual number without going over is the winner. It's kind of Price is Right rules. If there is a tie, the earliest one submitted will win, and then we'll announce the winner of this particular guessing jar game on May 1st on the live show. And here is my mother. Remember, she's 82 years old, and she will be performing her famous guessing jar modeling right here.
Hi there, here we are with another guessing jar. As you see, there are Legos in here. Legos are pretty small. In with the Legos, I have some little men. There's a horse in there even. Good luck on the guessing. Some of those Legos are tiny. Good luck.
Now, my mom is 82 and a half years old. My mom was Miss Charles City, Iowa in 1957. So she's got the modeling business down. She knows what she's doing. Anyway, folks, if you want to make a guess, the winner gets a $25 Amazon gift card. Closest without going over. Any ties will go to the first submitted guess. And, you can guess too, Andrew. I knew you guessed on the Tootsie Rolls.
I couldn't get a...
You guessed on the Tootsie.
I couldn't get a good look at it because there was a thing blocking it that said your mic is muted.
I know, and thanks for breaking down the fourth wall. Here's the thing. I made just a little short 2.5 minute video, or maybe it's 3 minutes on my page. So you can go and you can guess on that, or you can guess here as Peggy Miller did with 285. Seems like a good guess. I have no way of knowing. Because I do not have the reveal video from my mom yet. But you can, you can go look at it as many times as you want, try to figure it out, and I just kind of feel like this is a nice way to reward people for watching. Because as I say many times, people watch this, they have absolutely zero reason to do it. There's no reason to watch this. There isn't. I mean it. I do this for my own mental health. I go through and I didn't mention, people have already seen this if they've watched. Behind me in the background today is the Cheyenne Zoo giraffe pit. I try to put in. Can you see the giraffes over my shoulder here?
Oh, there they are. Yeah.
Yeah, they're back there. And that's what I try to do with this. I have no idea. I mean, and I don't even want to guess, because if I guess and somebody says, "Oh, that's going to be," well, guess what John guesses? Because I can't give it to so I'm just not even going to make a number, Steven. I have no idea. So basically, the whole reason I do this is so I have a reason to do something during the day, and the fact that people watch and they come and. It means a lot to me, because otherwise I would be, I'd be binging on TV and eating whatever I can find. I don't know if I told you, some people saw this. My son brought me a 52 pack of instant oatmeal, and a 30-pack of ramen noodles.
Oh, that's awesome. It's like a variety pack of oatmeal flavor.
Variety pack of oatmeal, chicken flavor of the ramen.
How many
which
different flavors of oatmeal? Don't tell me what they are. I want to see if I can guess all the flavors.
3.
Oh, there's 3? Oh, that's tough, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of them's definitely maple brown sugar.
Yes.
Okay. And then one of them's apples and cinnamon.
Yes.
And one of them is... It's either peaches and cream or plain. I'm just going to say plain.
You were close, but no, it is. So this is the weirdest thing to me. It's cinnamon and spice.
That's almost plain, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it doesn't say. I know. I don't want to argue with you. I mean, I'm not Quaker Oats, but although if I got one of those hats, I could look like the guy.
See, if you just said 5, then I feel like I would have had it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What's the third one? You know?
Yeah, but cinnamon and spice, and to be honest, it tastes very similar to maple and brown sugar. They're
and
very
are you
similar.
chopping up fruit and putting it on top of your oatmeal?
No.
It's a nice way to kind of jazz it up. Oh, and another thing I would recommend: chop up some nuts and put that on top of your oatmeal.
Yeah.
Like
well, here let me show you a little something that I'm going to be coming up with here. I've already got this lined up, and people I think are really going to go nuts for this. Now, all I have to do is come up with content. I got a hell of an intro.
Yeah, I couldn't see it. There was a thing that said your mic.
I know. See, this is again. This is a production issue. I mean, but the idea being that I have learned how to cook for myself in the quarantine. A lot of people don't know this. I just rent a room. I got a room, and so a lot of my cooking entails a Hamilton Beach electric tea kettle, a pair of scissors, and a 7-inch multi-purpose knife. I do have a spoon and a cup, so I can do some things. But I don't have any content yet because
sounds like you're describing a murder scene or something.
Pretty well, you know what? You kill somebody and you put some oatmeal over it. It acts like that. It's kind of like that stuff they put over vomit. It just absorbs up the blood. Then you got bloody oatmeal, which sounds like something you get it.
That's what they tried to feed the golden child.
Bloody oatmeal. It's like it's from England, or you get it at Denny's. That's a grand slam. Try our bloody oatmeal. Oatmeal slam. It's against the curb. I don't know. We got comments. Okay, so first of all, let's go here. Stephen Tovar needs you to guess so he can Price is Right you. Now, to be.
Oh yeah,
You guys were doing that before. Prisoners have more cooking utensils. That is correct. My mother just gives a thumbs up because she loves the attention. Thank you, Mom.
Has Tovar guessed yet?
Tovar has not guessed. He's waiting for you. He's gonna one up you. But now, Stephen, let's look at this because the last time with the Tootsie Rolls, everybody was Price is Righting and everybody went over.
All right, you know what, John? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take a dive here.
All right.
I'm going to guess $1 million. I'm going to see what Tovar does with that.
Ooh, very nice. Andrew, well, Stephen, $1 million.
Self-sacrifice. Your move, Tovar.
Without going over, Stephen.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
He doesn't know what to do.
Stephen, if you want to, you could Price is Right Ron Lamprecht because he's guessed 3, which a little bit more. There's a bit of a. He says you're a better guesser. Oh my gosh! Well, my friend
looks downright frightening with that bandana over his face.
I know. I mean, it's just like, but now you can go to the store with a bandana on, and you don't feel like you're gonna steal stuff.
Everybody just looks like hipsters.
Oh, yeah, well, he regrets his decision. All right.
Which one?
I mean, he's made many bad ones. let's be honest, Stephen. Oh my gosh. Well, Andrew, we're up on an hour, and went by a lot quicker than I thought it was gonna.
You thought it was gonna? You thought it was
No.
really gonna drag out, huh?
No, I mean, no. You take my words the wrong way. Honestly,
Oh, I take your words the wrong way. Huh?
or maybe I say them the wrong. Maybe I Trumpize my words. Here's the thing. Most of the time when I talk with people, I literally have in my mind, okay, 15 minutes at the least to whatever. When we get up to an hour, I always think to myself, man, that went by so quick. And I mean it sincerely because I really enjoyed talking with you. And
Yeah, this was really fun, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I think I like this so much at some point because I know not everybody is watching in the afternoon. There are a certain amount of people that can watch, and not everybody is. And I think at some point, and I talked about this on Friday with Logan and Andy, I think at some point I can get up to 6 people on the screen at one time. I think at some point I want to maybe just do some like comic roundtables and not open mic, just talking like this, just road stories, just that kind of stuff. Because I think, and if we do it at night, I think a lot of people would be interested in hearing some of those stories.
Yeah, well, hey, let me get one more plug in real quick because it pertains to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Rebecca has a podcast called the Awful Service Podcast.
Okay.
That she records with Matt Doima, Nathan Smezrud, Joe Cocazello, Jalen Russell, and lately I've been joining in too since we're quarantined together.
Yeah.
And actually tomorrow the episode with Wendy Mayberry comes out. So
oh, nice.
Yesterday we recorded an episode with 7 people in a Zoom call, and Joe Cocazello still talked throughout most of the podcast.
Of course he did.
But it's next Tuesday that week. My this week is Tovar, but regardless, we had a lot of fun doing that, and it's not always about putting forth high quality content. Although this is an example of that. It's as much for our own sake and, like you were saying, maintaining the mental health and
absolutely
talk to people.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and let people know when you're because you're appearing on another couple of things this week too. When's the Codependent show? What night is that?
So that's Wednesday night. Rebecca.Valera.Wilson on Instagram.
Okay, and when we get done with this, go ahead and post that down in the comments here, will you?
Yes, yeah, I can do that.
All right.
That starts at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
All right,
and then look for Awful Service coming out tomorrow, probably sometime in the afternoon.
And that people can find anywhere that they listen to podcasts.
Yeah, just awfulservice.com or awfulservicepodcast.com.
Excellent.
You can find it. It's easy to find.
Well, if I can find it, anybody can find it.
Yeah.
Although I take it, there's a lot of people that are younger than me that don't know what the hell I'm doing. Technology-wise. Nobody gives a shit what I'm doing, but you know what I'm saying.
We're all learning.
We're all in it together. Andrew, gosh, it was so much fun. And folks, please find that Codependent Mike comedy show, and really please give it a look because I appreciate Andrew coming on and spending this much time with me.
I appreciate you, John.
You're more than welcome, my friend. And if you're out there and you're going through Facebook and you find anybody doing a virtual open mic or playing acoustic music or any kind of music or doing anything live to try to entertain you, remember that they're probably a very creative person. And while we're all locked up, they're probably really looking for a connection with people. So if you go by and stop, thank you very much. Awful Service available on Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. What? No Stitcher? No Stitcher? Come come on, that's my only. I get it. Sorry, I got myself off the track. But as creatives, we all need to have that value to what we're doing, and so please give them a like, watch them for even if it's a minute, just so they know that what they're doing is valuable, and we just all appreciate it very, very much. So, and here we go. Here's the rest. You got a great producer. See, everybody that comes on should have this so they can put their stuff on here. Holy cow! You guys are the poster kids for doing shit the right way. Excellent, and that's right up there on the screen, and it'll be down there in the comments so you can look at and track it down.
And also comment if you'd like to see John Russell do a spot. We've been trying to get him.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I will. This is.
I threw you a curveball.
You didn't throw me a curveball, because here's the thing. My biggest problem, Andrew, is this: because I'm doing this, and I'm helping quite a few people do different stuff. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I got two fans. So here's the thing. I'm helping other people do stuff, and then so I'll be honest with you, like Mike Fink from Peak Entertainment. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
But so he's doing a interview with. Well, he wants to do an interview with Jody Miller, who was on America's Got Talent season number 9, and she's also the producer of that show Funny You Ask that Louis Anderson's on all the time. So he's going to do an interview with her tonight, and we talked about it. I don't know how long ago, but I also talked with Andrew Brynildson about doing Monday night comedy shows. So see, then I end up with conflicts and stuff. So because I don't keep track real good while I'm doing this, and just like with you, right? I sent you an email and told you it was on the 22nd when it was really the 27th. And I'm like, because I have no proofreader. I don't have a co-producer. I screw things up every single day. But yes, I will commit to doing it with you. We'll just pick a day, and then I'll have to mark it in. I'll have to just mark it hard in my arm so I remember. But anyway, to all of you that watched, again, really can't thank you enough. And tomorrow now this is going to be really cool because it's going to go a whole bunch of different ways. I have one of my closest and oldest friends from the radio business, Tracy McRae, who I work with down in Rochester. She is now... she's furloughed for the time being, but she's in the Mayo Clinic news department. They have their own news department. And so I'll be talking with her tomorrow. It won't be nearly as much about comedy, but it'll be a lot about a lot of other stuff. And she's actually really funny. She's got a rhubarb cam. And if you're not watching the rhubarb cam, what the hell are you doing with your life? But you don't know about it, so you'll find out about that tomorrow. But anyway, that'll be tomorrow. I got Dan Hannenkamp on with me on Wednesday. And Michael Callahan, fantastic comic magician and mentalist, will be on Thursday. So please, thank you so much for looking in. I appreciate it more than you know. And Andrew, thank you so much. Thanks, appreciate John. It. Appreciate it so much, buddy. And hang in there. Everybody. Hang in there. Don't go off. I'll talk with you a little bit when we get done. And everybody else, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.